Yes, this is, of course, part of the government's plan to stop the boats and, in the short term, to minimise the cost to the taxpayer, because we are, of course, currently spending about £6 million a day hosting people who've crossed the channel illegally in small boats in hotels. So this is part of a push by the government to get cheaper, more basic accommodation to fill that need. So this Bibby Stockholm barge arrived in Falmouth about 8 o'clock this morning. It was towed over from Italy. It's previously been used to house asylum seekers, and it's due to be refitted now. It's currently got a gym, a bar, 220 en-suite rooms. The Home Office have said they're going to refit it to provide basic and functional accommodation, including catering, 24-hour security, healthcare, etc. Now, of course, the people of Falmouth won't be much bothered. This barge isn't staying there for long. It's a very different story in Portland, just off the coast of Weymouth in Dorset, where asylum seekers will be arriving from June. It will, at capacity, house around 500 single males, and huge amounts of opposition to this. The local MP, Conservative MP Richard Drax, has said he fears that it could be in place for years to come. At the moment, the thinking is for around 18 months. The Conservative-led council leader also, they have serious reservations, and this is the problem, isn't it? Whenever the government find somewhere to house people that have crossed the channel on small boats, the locals do not like it and are up in arms and talking about legal challenges. So a very rocky road ahead, I suspect.
I think it was originally designed or fitted out for some 200 oil rig workers, but there's going to be more than double that number on board. So presumably there's going to have to be a lot of work done to refit it. We don't know exactly how much that's going to cost. Clearly not £6 million a day, but there's still a cost involved.
Yes, of course, and it's a drop in the ocean, isn't it? Because we know there are tens and tens of thousands of people waiting over a year to have their claims processed, and the majority of those at the moment do end in asylum claims being granted. We have a much higher rate of acceptance here than we do in Europe, and also we take far, far longer to process the claims, well over a year. Some people have been waiting years. This is hugely, hugely expensive. Now, of course, the illegal migration bill is making its way through Parliament. It's gone through the Commons. It's now going to have a big battle. The government are going to have, I suspect, in the House of Lords. There's also the legal challenges, but the government are hoping that it will be passed by the summer, and that come the autumn, they could potentially be put people on flights to Rwanda, and that at the point that people are being detained or sent to Rwanda, at that point they believe and hope that the numbers crossing the channel will start to fall dramatically. Of course, this is all about being a deterrent. We've had 6,000 people cross already this year, and of course there were nearly 46,000 came in the whole of 2022.
Yes, they're still assessing, of course, the latest number. But talking of Rwanda, we've got this other extraordinary story now that Guta Hari is the former spokesman for Boris Johnson has put into the public arena about what's termed a bit of a showdown between King Charles, or Prince Charles as he was, and the former Prime Minister over this whole issue of Rwanda.
Yes, going back to last June, the King was alleged to have said that he found the government's plans to deport migrants on a one-way ticket to Rwanda appalling. Now, Guta Hari, who was formerly at number 10 last year under Boris Johnson, is now saying in a podcast that Boris Johnson confronted the King and basically squared up to him, had a go at him about the language that he has used. Now, we don't know the exact words that were used. Boris Johnson's team have come back on this a bit, and it was actually filmed, so whatever was said, the body language wasn't too worrying. But yes, quite extraordinary, because of course previously the monarch has not waded into politics. We didn't know what the Queen thought about political things, and of course Charles, as Prince of Wales, took a much more active role. He spent his life making clear his views. news. So it will be very interesting to see now that he is king, whether he does indeed take that step back and inhabit that traditional role of being hands-off as far as politics is concerned.
Katherine, at Westminster, thanks for updating us. And, of course, we'll be live down to Falmouth too to get the latest on that barge, which is now being inspected. Thank you very much indeed.